Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee and Crypto Live Show. I am your host, Tim Warren, and it is going to be a great day today. We're going to be talking with Mark Yusko on the show today. That is right. You heard me correctly. Mark Yusko is here, a phenomenal brain. I cannot wait to get his take on the Bitcoin market specifically, but even crypto as a whole, on the market sentiment and what is happening in the space. Do we have further to go down, or have we hit max pain and we're just kind of feeling it really heavy? That's going to be discussed and more later. Another special thing about today's show, because guess what, guys? It is September 1st. It is the first show of the month, and those of you who have been watching now for a while know that we have started a new tradition where the first show of every single month, we're going to be giving back every single dollar that is donated in Superchats today will be going to our ministry partner, Life for the Innocent, that works to save children from sex trafficking over in India. It is a very, very, very good cause, and this is a whole part of why our YouTube channel exists, and we're building the community that we're building with all of you guys who understand that crypto can be used to make this world a better place. If that is something you love, first of all, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and consider today, if there's any day you're considering leaving a super chat, let it be today, because not a single dollar of that will go to anyone here in this office. It will be going to save the life of a child. Gonna be a good show today, guys. I'm joined by my two co-hosts. I'm very excited to introduce them. I got TShroom over here to my right.
Happy day.
Happy day. I got Smay, the Turtle King, over here to my left.
Hello, happy day.
Yes, man, I'm excited for the show today. How are you guys feeling about the show as a whole right now?
I'm feeling pretty optimistic. Feeling good, feeling energized.
Yeah. How about you, Smay? How's your morning been going so far?
I'm feeling optimistic. I'm feeling energized.
Copycat there. Yeah, so make sure you guys stay tuned. We're about to jump in here in just a couple of minutes to go through our market polls, because despite the fact that we're going to be talking with Mark that entire time about Bitcoin and sentiment, there are some other news stories that are breaking in the crypto space that TShroom is going to cover for you. But before we even go there, I talked about it already. We are, I wouldn't say at this point we're the largest community by any means, but I do think this is the greatest crypto community, not just on YouTube, but anywhere in the entire world. And the reason for that is some of those green names that you guys are seeing right now in chat. And we always love to read us some green names. Smay, go ahead and take it away.
Oh, I'm going to take it away, and I won't give it back. No,
well, you got to give it back.
I will give it back. Yeah. All right. Here we have Mitch Shaw. We have GS. We got Greg Jenkins. We got JoJo. We got Justin Eubanks. We got Silent. We got Crypto Ben Franklin. We got GoGo CJC. We got Kevin Grims. We got a Mellow Fellow. We got Crypto Alchemist. We got Freedom Advocate. We got Tristan Williams. We got Tyler Main. Grand Roofing Incorporated. You are awesome.
Grand Roofing
Incorporated. Adam Rorick. And so many more. Mike Lowry. Love all of you guys. Back to you, Tim.
Right there, we had a super chat. I'm not going to wait till the end when we usually read them towards the end of the show. Gia S just donated $10, said, love all that you guys do and stand for. Thank you so much, Gia. And again, if there's any day, obviously, whenever people give super chats, they help support the channel, help us keep the lights on. It's always phenomenal. Continue to build this community. But I'm super excited for today's version because, like I said, not a single dollar will go to any of us. It will go to do things for children who have no chance. Up this channel, before we dive into that market polls and everything, you guys know that we are all about helping grow the community to accomplish FinSov, which is financial sovereignty, where you have control over your money. Your money does not have control over you. Because here's the thing, we talk about crypto, and crypto is phenomenal. And I think that crypto is going to be solving a solution that we have had a problem with currency now for well over 100 years. Here's the thing, though. Even when crypto becomes what we want it to become, the end-all be-all is still not money. The end-all be-all is the ability to live the lives we were meant to live. Now, we're here to help you guys worry about the financial side of that, but we're not going to ignore the things that happen in this world that keep people from being able to do what they're called to do and made to do. And of course, if you are raised in a country, in a place where you can be sex trafficked and organ trafficked the way that some of these children are, there's not even an ability to worry about cryptocurrency or financial sovereignty. They don't even have personal sovereignty. So that's what we stand for here at this company. We are here to actually make this world a better place, and we see crypto as potentially one of the greatest tools we have to do so. So with that being said, before we jump in, Market Pulse is brought to you this morning by Ledger. So Smay, why don't you go ahead and tell our people all about what Ledger is?
Oh, gee, Tim, I would love to tell people about Ledger. Guys, Ledger is the premier hardware cold wallet solution to storing your cryptocurrency private keys.
Woo!
You heard me. If you aren't securing your private keys, then you're basically saying, hey, everybody, come get my crypto. Come get my crypto. That's horrible. You need to be secure and secured. So, guys, check out link in the description. We love cold wallets. We love Ledger. Tim has a Ledger. He uses Ledger. We all have cold wallets we love, and you guys need to sign up. Not sign up. Buy one. Link in the description. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Smay. I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to TShroom so we can start the market pulse.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the sultry sound of my voice, you are in the market pulse, baby. Let's get into it. If Smay will be kind enough to go into my screen here, I know he's been very busy, very occupied with trying to help people find Ledger, just the good news of Ledger. So he might be a little busy, but I'm assuming now your eyes are having the pleasure of
We've been on your screen.
gazing upon the fear and greed index, which is now in deeper extreme fear. 3 points lower than yesterday into extreme fear. For those of you who don't know, the Fear and Greed Index measures fear and greed, and right now it is in pretty extreme fear. We saw it go as low as 8, though, recently. So this isn't the most extreme that I've seen it, but it's getting pretty extreme. And you know what they say, you want to buy fear and sell greed. At least that's the way that Warren Buffett plays the game. Not that he plays the crypto game. But anyway, we'll move along. The CME futures are still predicting a 75-point basis hike, and that hasn't really changed. It's actually slightly weaker than yesterday, but I'd still say this is fairly divisive. On September 21st, the Fed is going to convene, and they're going to decide on the rate hike, and right now it's looking like that rate hike is going to be 75 basis points. Moving on into the news here, we'll cruise right on into it with some stunning news out of the District of Columbia, and they're suing MicroStrategy's founder, Michael Saylor, for tax fraud. Where do they get off? Well, let's dive in before we cast judgment and just see what's going on here. The District of Columbia is suing MicroStrategy's founder and executive chairman, Michael Saylor, for allegedly never paying any income taxes in the district in the more than 10 years he has, quote-unquote, lived there. Attorney General Carl A. Ricin announced in a tweet on Wednesday. In addition, Ricin tweeted that his office is suing MicroStrategies for conspiring to help him evade taxes he allegedly owes on hundreds of millions of dollars he's earning while living in Washington. So the question here is, was he actually living in Washington? So let's dive in. In a follow-up tweet, Ricin also wrote that the action is the first lawsuit brought under the district's recently amended False Claims Act, encouraging whistleblowers to report residents who evade our tax laws to represent by misrepresenting their residence. And I tweeted at my Twitter is at TShroom. I tweeted at the AG of Washington D.C. I said, but why is Saylor the first? Because he has the most money of all these people that on the short list of folks who they are thinking is potentially shorting the government and taxes there. So I think that's kind of an important question, and that's something that we can all kind of get behind as a rallying cry. If you feel like you want to support Michael Saylor in this way. But Florida, this is Michael Saylor's response. Florida is where I live, vote, and have reported for jury duty, and it is at the center of my personal and family life, he said. I respectfully disagree with the position of the District of Columbia, and I look forward to a fair resolution in the courts. Almost a Hamiltonian response there from Michael Saylor. Very level-headed, standing on his feet there with that response. I really like it. Let's see. In a statement, MicroStrategies called the District of Columbia case a personal tax matter involving Mr. Saylor. So MicroStrategies, obviously a separate entity from Mr. Saylor. They're trying to defend themselves and also separate themselves from the individual Michael Saylor. Oh, there we go. Got a little crazy. Little crazy cookies moving around everything. But the company was not responsible for his day-to-day affairs and did not oversee his individual tax responsibilities, MicroStrategy said, nor did the company conspire with Mr. Saylor in the discharge of his personal tax responsibilities. The District of Columbia's claims against the company are false. So, right up the middle, that's a very corporate, very expected response. Tim, what do you think about all this?
We actually discussed this a little bit last night on Around the Blockchain, and there were some interesting perspectives given over there. First of all, there's a large question which I don't think I have the answer to, and I think it's for everyone to kind of think through for themselves, and we'll have to wait for more details to come out before we can confirm or deny this. But potentially, is Michael Saylor being targeted because he's a Bitcoin person? You know, there's obviously a lot of things happening right now in the space. We're actually going to talk about this a little more when Mark comes on the show, because this is the phase we're entering in where they used to ignore crypto and Bitcoin. They used to laugh at Bitcoin, and we've entered into the phase where now governments and centralized entities will start to fight Bitcoin. Well, one of the ways you do that is you go after some of the biggest advocates for it. So, you know, some people are going to believe, no, you know, this is just a wealthy person that Washington is going after to try to get some more taxes, although 25 million is not going to make or break what they're doing. It makes sense to say that potentially could this just be an attack on the crypto space by saying this is one of the biggest advocates for Bitcoin and the future of it. Let's go after him. You know, so do with that information what you will, but just so you know, I don't put a lot of stock into what's going to happen here. Let's just say they even say he has to pay it. $25 million is a lot of money. I wish this was a problem that I had, that I would have to worry about if I had to pay my $25 million taxes. Michael Saylor, I don't think he wants to spend it, but if he ends up having to, that's not going to break him or wreck him as a person. So keep your eyes on this story, but anyone who thinks that this is catastrophic, there's also people out there almost saying like, oh no, like if he gets liquidated, is Bitcoin going to drop down to like 1,000? It's like, no, like this is not going to liquidate Bitcoin. It's not that big. It's just a small picture of potentially what the U.S. government could be doing to try to go after crypto people.
Oh, yeah. No, I think this is very political. I don't think this has much to do with crypto, and it's going to have anything to do with the price of Bitcoin anytime soon. If it did, it would be months, even years down the road. Because ultimately what this is the District of Columbia trying to raise revenue. They're just trying to make more money.
Yeah.
And they can, you know, they're a very political entity, so they're going to try to, you know, come down on things that they don't like.
And it's going to take a lot for them to prove it too, because like I said, he's just a wealthy individual who has homes in several locations. I know there was evidence like, oh, his boat was docked here for multiple months. He was seen in the area. Well, guess what? Just because you're seen somewhere and a boat is in at the dock, it doesn't mean that's your main residence. So it'll be interesting to watch this case unfold and if they could actually prove it, or if this was just some more FUD to pump into the market to make Bitcoin holders scared.
Yeah. If you're a residential tax attorney, we'd love to know what you think in the chat. Let us know. What I specifically want to know is what percentage of cases are won by the defendant in these type of lawsuits when they're up against the Goliath of something like a D.C., Washington D.C. district attorney. I really would like to know. All right, moving back into crypto, back to our infighting. So not so much fighting with the outside world, but we have some infighting here that needs to be settled. Smay, if you're on my screen, any Ethereum forks won't be supported, says NFT marketplace OpenSea ahead of the merge. We're not going to go super deep into this because it's kind of stories in the headline, but OpenSea, the largest non-fungible token marketplace, will be exclusively supporting proof-of-stake NFTs as Ethereum tweeting on Wednesday that we are committed to solely supporting NFTs on the upgraded Ethereum proof-of-stake chain. So OpenSea throwing their hat with what a lot of the stable coins, Tether and USDC, as well as Chainlink, the Oracle, have done, which is citing against the proof-of-work forks that they will not be supporting with their Web3 services. So, you know, this is to be expected. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised we're not seeing an outpouring of a lot more of these yet, but I guess it's just the big guys who, you know, can figure it out from a legal perspective if they can do this or not, or from an operational perspective from their product developers if they can do this. So, I mean, these guys are getting ahead of it, and it's impressing at least me that they can make these statements so early before the forks have even happened. Moving along, crypto lawyer Kyle Roche pulls out of lawsuits against Tether, Binance, and others. So let's dive into this. In addition to leaking some videos about his former employer, Avalanche, it looks like he was also suing some other crypto operators. So high-profile crypto attorney Kyle Roche has withdrawn from several class action suits against Binance and other major crypto companies, just days after the release of leaked videos in which he discussed his relationships with crypto clients over drinks. New court documents reveal that the lawyer filed motions to withdraw from many of the cases today. So he's getting cold feet on those. I wonder what new information he has or new understandings he has. The move comes after self-proclaimed whistleblower website CryptoLeaks published videos showing Roche discussing his close relationship with Ava Labs, the company behind Avalanche blockchain. And Roche wrote on Medium on Monday that the videos were illegally obtained, highly edited video clips that were not presented with accurate context, and were part of a deliberate scheme to intoxicate and then exploit me. Intoxicate, that's such a strange use of that word. Intoxicate and then exploit me using leading questions. So this just got very messy. And what was once a straightforward allegation against AVAX and how they were basically using lobbyists and lawyers to try and gain an advantage in the market, that allegation has now exploded into all of this kind of centering around Kyle Roche's legitimacy and his credibility, potentially as an attorney, but also, just as a whistleblower. So
intoxicate.
What
You mean like they got him drunk?
that? I believe I wrote that word. I think intoxicate with anger, deliberate scheme to intoxicate and then exploit me with leading questions. It might be actually intoxicate.
I can't imagine that word has any other implication there.
No, I
than
think you're right.
I mean, the other one would be that he got high, but
I think you're right.
I think it's more.
Well, I think what they're trying to say here is more so like it's a more ethereal use of the word. That
I don't
they're
know.
Intoxicating his identity or his perception.
That's not the way you use that word.
Actually, I
don't know if that's the way they use it, but
I think it is with alcohol. I think
Yeah.
they probably got him drunk, or he's alleging that somebody got him drunk, and now then he was exploited.
Yeah, get him drunk, get him to loosen up, answer things loosely, and it was a whole ploy.
Kind of sounds like a classic attorney line, though, in my
Yeah.
opinion. All right, moving along, back to the extra crypto, the outside world interacting with crypto, as they often like to do in such an uninformed fashion. And here's another excellent case of just that. California crypto licensing bill awaits governor signature. Of course, that governor being Gavin Newsom of the great state of California. A simple stroke of a pen is the last step needed to make California one of the first states to require cryptocurrency-related businesses to obtain a special license to operate in the state. California Assembly member Timothy Grayson introduced the bill, AB 2269, with support from the Consumer Federation of California, which will establish the Digital Finance Assets Law. The California Senate approved AB 2269 on Monday, with an assembly voting to approve the following day. The bill now goes before California Governor Gavin Newsom, whose signature will enact it into law. But the end of the article does point out, it does point out that Newsom has not yet signaled whether or not he will sign the bill. The governor has until September 30th to sign or veto the bill, which would take effect in January of 2025. Critics of the bill, including Blockchain Association, said the bill would only stifle innovation by creating short-sighted, unhelpful restrictions inconsistent with the governor's stated vision for crypto policy in California. So that's a potential signal that he may veto it, but the bill's licensing provisions are designed to install the same type of onerous licensing and reporting regime that has stunted the growth of crypto industry and limited access to safe and reliable crypto products and services in New York, the Blockchain Association tweeted. So some pretty steep criticisms of the bill there from crypto advocates. And Gavin Newsom, I believe he fancies himself a crypto advocate, with his vision for crypto policy in California. But, it'll be yet to see. It'll be interesting to watch this develop and see whether or not he vetoes it. And he has until the end of this month to go ahead and make that decision. Yeah. And take note, it wouldn't go effect until January of 2025. So it has quite a little time horizon there before it's going to go into action. Moving right along, also staying in the state of California, CoinGecko reveals that the U.S. state most interested in Bitcoin and Ethereum is California. I'm kind of spilling the beans there before I get into the story. Sorry about that. In a report shared by CoinGecko, internet users from California accounted for a whopping 43% of all Bitcoin and Ethereum web traffic searches on the crypto tracking website. This is despite the entire state population only accounting for 11.9% of the U.S. population. Very, very interesting. CoinGecko also notes that other states with a strong interest in the two cryptocurrencies include Illinois, which is how I pronounce it, okay, New York, Florida, and Washington, followed by Pennsylvania, Texas, Virginia, Georgia, and Arizona. So you're welcome.
Say that last one again.
Arizona.
And
that's the way that cookie crumbles. All right, so yeah, you can see this chart. California is far and away the most popular, they're searching. This is web traffic, not trades, not gas fees or anything. But California is definitely in the lead, and then you get Illinois, which is basically Chicago.
In that chart, that's just showing Matt C's wallet right there. As soon as he leaves, this chart will change.
But hey, Florida's up there in the top 4, which is cool. And always fun to see. And then what's especially notable is Colorado, Wisconsin, New Jersey, and Florida's interest in Ethereum over Bitcoin. So that was also found in the report. And that's all that we're going to cover there, folks. Thank you so much for joining me in the Market Pulse. It's really been a pleasure. Going to throw it over to Tim. Love to see you.
Very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff in crypto happening. I think we got a couple more minutes before Mark joins the show. Smay, give me a thumbs up when Mark is in. What we're going to do until he comes, though, is we're going to continue on kind of, Market Pulse stuff. We'll go look at the charts real quick. Something interesting was happening while we were doing Market Pulse. Bitcoin is dropping. There was a tweet put out, I think, earlier this morning. I was doing office hours this morning, so don't pay attention to these yellow boxes. I'm actually going to delete those. I was doing something with office hours this morning, explaining some things to some of the community over there. And so Bitcoin dropped below 19.9. Tom Crown put on his Twitter, he put a tweet, he's like, I'll delete this. We're never going below 19.9 again. So I tweeted at him just a second ago, hey, Tom, time to delete that tweet. Question is why? So before I go there, let's look at a couple things here on the chart, and then we're going to go over to the Dixie, and we'll be very brief here. There's a question I have here. I told you guys we have 2 touches down here at 19.5, give or take, and then we have 2 touches up here at about 20,500. So 20,500, 19,500, we got about $1,000 range. Here's my question. I drew these 2 red lines. Are we going to turn this symmetrical technically, or will we continue to trade in this range? Right now, last thing I want to show you guys, the Dixie, the green candle we have here on the 4-hourly chart just shot up above, this year. This is the all-time high for this year and is heading up. I've told you guys this before. Let's go out to the daily chart. Even though we had some bearish divergence, I'm realizing on the daily chart, you could read that as bearish divergence, but this point was actually already used for daily bearish RSI divergence when you're comparing it to points over here. So there's this thing of like saying, hey, I love me some divergences, RSI divergences, but that does not negate the fact that we have been in a megaphone pattern now for a while over on the Dixie, and we could see, if this happens quickly, we could see it get all the way up above $113 before we actually see anything start to retrace. That's if it goes quickly. If it takes its time, we could wait until maybe matching back to the highs. Let me go out to the weekly chart. Maybe matching back to the highs that we had back, how many years ago was this? I don't even remember the exact date. Back in 2002 when we got up around 120. This is something we're definitely going to keep our eyes on, and I know that Mark's going to have a take on this because this is the type of stuff he looks at. But just so you guys know, the Dixie is climbing this morning. It is sitting at a high it has not been at for a very, very, very long time. And so when you're watching your cryptos maybe take a dive this morning, that is part of the reason why. But with that being said, let's go ahead and bring on Mark. Mark, how are you doing, my friend? I'm so glad to have you on the show this morning.
Doing great. Sorry for being a couple minutes late.
No, you're good.
Great to catch up.
Yeah, I'm excited. I got a lot of questions for you. For those of you who don't know, I got to interview Mark about a month and a half ago over on Cointelegraph Market Talks. Speaking of Market Talks, there will be another episode today at noon. You don't want to miss it. But before we jump into crypto, Mark, I'm actually going to throw it to TShroom. And TShroom's going to start us off with the question of the day. And I want to hear your answer of it first.
The question of the day.
Yeah, the question of the day.
Yeah, is what about your childhood do you remember? What did you believe when you were a child that you it was kind of silly that obviously you don't believe now, but when you were a child you believed it?
Oh wow. Well, that someone actually walked on the moon, so that was one. Because I watched it on TV, and then as I grew up, I realized that looks like a sound stage to me. So that was one. I think one of the big ones is I talk about this all the time. I grew up in Seattle, Washington, actually in Kirkland, and I ask people all the time, what's the lowest price you remember for a gallon of gas? And I remember vividly going to the 7-Eleven with my dad and it being 31 cents.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
I think we all believe when we're young that prices are normal. Yet I put a gallon of gas in my car the other day. It was $5.31. The gas didn't get any better, right? The gallon of gas does the same thing, fills up the car, burns the same amount of heat in the engine, actually a little less because it's got ethanol in it, but let's assume it's the same. It's not that the gas got better, it's that the money got worse. And so, I bought a Slurpee for 29 cents back then. And actually they came in a really cool collector cup, which my mom threw all my great cups away. I had Roberto Clemente. I had, Larry Zonka. I mean, I just had all these great cups, but she threw them all away. Now you pay $2.29 for a Slurpee. So it's this illusion that inflation is good for you. That's an illusion. It's really to steal your wealth, which is why we all crypto. Those are a couple things. What else? I believe that the Seattle Mariners would actually, be a good baseball team someday.
That's a rough one. That's a rough one.
Actually, they did have one good season, but had a lot of good players. But I'm a diehard Seattle fan. Seahawks are actually pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're gonna go around and we'll give very short answers. My answer would be when I was a little kid, I used to believe that cats were girls and dogs were boys. Yeah. And I think I've had conversations with friends that they concur that was also a belief that they shared. I do not believe that now, just to be clear, but I kind of wish it was still true.
Good. Good.
Smay, how about you? What was something you believed?
You did. Something I believed because the way my parents would talk to me, I believed that babies came from just kissing somebody. And that's where babies came from.
You just ruined that for a lot of people.
So maybe you still believe that, and I'm sorry about that, but that's not how it works. But anyways, what about you, Tim?
Mine, I didn't watch the Truman Show until I was older, but I believed I was in the Truman Show when I was little. I could have sworn I was like the main character of the story, and that other people were like had scripts and lines that they would practice, and when I came in the room, they'd go into character. Wow. So I would literally whip open doors and like sneak up on hallways and like whip out to see if I could catch them rehearsing their lines. And unfortunately, then I turned 17 and I had to grow up. And anyway, that is it's a new thing we're starting here. Question of the day, just to keep things light. Today's discussion with Mark is brought to you guys by Anthony Price. And I know usually Smay reads this, but I'm going to be really quick with it. Anthony Price is our CPA. If you guys are wondering how to handle your crypto taxes and give as little money to Uncle Sam as possible, but maximize those profits and do it in a legal way, you're going to want a CPA. I would heavily advise Anthony Price. There's a link in the description down below. Go check him out for a free 15-minute call. But Mark, let's go ahead and jump back into crypto. And I got a lot of questions. I probably could be interviewing you for the next 3 to 4 years straight with all the questions I have for you. But let's start with, I think, the one that is really on everybody's mind in question. And of course, this is one I'm sure you've answered several times over the last 6 or 7 months, but we're going to go back to it. When we're talking about the crypto winter and we're talking about the bottom, the last time I got to interview you, we talked about how we thought that the crypto winter was over, and that didn't mean the price couldn't dip at all, but that the majority of the pain was gone. And of course, that could still be true, but when we're looking at these prices under 20,000 and it looks like there could be further move to the downside, I want to hear what you think about this. Is this just a part of the bull run coming back? Do you think there is a good chance that the pain is not over and that winter has come back? I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to you and hear your take on that.
So crypto winter is over, right? It ended June 13th, 14th, whatever. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't have, like Groundhog Day, where, Groundhog comes out and sees a shadow or doesn't see a shadow. You get an extra 6 weeks of winter. So we could be in that type of scenario where, spring feels crappy because, the groundhog saw a shadow. But I think that's possibly where we are. But we're in spring, and spring is not straight up, right? Spring is this. Spring is volatile, in like a lion, out like a lamb. Rains a lot. It's windy. It's not really that pleasant. It's muddy. It's just not really that pleasant. And if you're like me, you got hay fever and you got to take Claritin. But spring is volatile. You go back to first quarter 2019, when we were coming out of winter in December of 18, it's not like we went straight up. We went up and then we went down, and we went up and we went down. And eventually, spring leads to summer. I think summer's still, 6+ months away as we anticipate the next halving in 2024. So I definitely don't think we're still in winter. I definitely think anyone who thought end of winter meant straight up, delusional. Probably too strong a word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair.
Volatility is your friend, not your enemy, right? You're supposed to embrace volatility. In fact, I should have worn my Embrace Volatility t-shirt, so I'd have a black t-shirt like all y'all. But I struggle because so many people are so focused on price. And you know my line on this, right? Price is a liar. Price has nothing to do with the value of the network. Price has nothing to do with the value of the ecosystem supporting a new technology. And we can determine with decent accuracy what the value of any network is, whether that's Apple or Amazon or Bitcoin. And the network value of the Bitcoin blockchain is somewhere in the low 30s. So today we're materially below fair value. So I would be an accumulator. And you see an accumulation pattern happening, right? It started in mid-June. We made a series of higher lows and higher highs. Now this recent drop did potentially, to your point, invalidate that first accumulation wave. And it's possible, we could retest lows. I don't think it's really likely, but I did see something that I thought was strange, kind of in end of July, middle of August. There was this weird chart pattern. If you pulled up the candlesticks, you saw a lot of long wicks with short bottoms, almost like hammer patterns, along the top of that 24,000 level. And so we kept bouncing against 24 and then we'd fall down, but we were making higher lows, but we couldn't bust through that 24. And that looked distributive to me. And I don't like distribution patterns. I don't like when somebody's feeding the ducks. So that made me a little bit nervous. And it made me think that we're in this strange kind of spring, maybe Groundhog Day scenario. It's a long answer.
That's actually really interesting. I want to go maybe a little bit deeper into that and take us back to the definition of winter, because I know you explained it really well, but let's make sure that people kind of understand that, because I saw in chat, even while you're talking, people are saying, oh no, what are you talking about? Like winter, there's definitely still winter here. Could you go once again briefly, just in a summarized statement, what signifies a crypto winter and what signifies a crypto spring? What's the difference? And then again, and maybe even answer it, under that definition, if we were to go below that 17.5 here, that was the bottom, does that mean that it is still winter, or is it possible the spring still contains that price? I think a lot of people would love to hear the specificity of the definition.
Yeah, so look, I don't think price really has anything to do with seasons, right? There are 4 seasons in a year.
Yeah.
They are each 91 days long, or 91 and a quarter days long. And that's it, right? The solstice happens. The moon doesn't change its course because people want, spring to be longer or summer to be longer. It's just 91 and a quarter days. So I think the same thing is true in the crypto cycle, is it's time. And everybody says, no, the 4-year cycle doesn't apply anymore. Yes, it does. It will always apply because it's in code. I mean, it's encoded into the Bitcoin algorithm that there will be this reduction in block rewards. And that reduction in block rewards creates a seasonal pattern. Well, why? Why, Mark? Why does it do that? Well, if you think about it, if on the day of the halving, if nothing happened, most of the miners would go out of business, right? Because they have a fixed cost of electricity and machines, and suddenly they're getting half as many rewards. so most of them will go out of business. So either the difficulty adjustment has to change or price has to rise. And I believe it is a absolutely genius method of creating price go up. And you heard me talk about this before. It's since the markets are dominated by guys are hunter-gatherers, right? We only see things if they're moving.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anyone really thought about it this way, but I use the example of my wife says, get the ketchup. I open the fridge, no ketchup. She walks up, grabs the ketchup bottle. It ain't moving. I can't see it. So if the price didn't move, people wouldn't care.
It's a great example.
But because the price has to move, has to go up on the halving, that starts to attract attention. And so you get the effect of people getting interested. So what I'll refer to as, crypto summer, in that people are starting to look. Well, then they get all ebullient and they start buying it. And we get to levels that the speculators come in. So when the price is below fair value, that's when investors buy. When the price is around fair value, that's when traders trade it. And when prices are way above fair value, that's when the speculators or the degenerate gamblers using leverage come in. And what causes winter, so the definition of winter to me is you have a price spike, right? And that price spike has a cathartic upward move because people are stupid and they repeat the same pattern over and over. They chase the hot dot and they use leverage and they get to that cathartic price spike. You get a very clear shooting star signal on your chart pattern. And you say, oh, that's the beginning of winter. Winter then is the corrective pattern. Right? And it's a period of time where the leverage has to get unwound. The speculators have to get their ass handed to them and money has to be lost to cleanse the system. So we got down to, we talked about this when we were together, we got down to 30,000. And we made this descending wedge pattern, right? We kept hitting 30,000 and we'd bounce up, but each bounce was lower and lower, and we're making this descending wedge. And I tweeted like on Thursday before Father's Day, I was down at Consensus in Austin. I tweeted, look, no one wants to hear this, and I'm going to piss off a lot of people. But the longer we stay at 30, the higher the likelihood is we're going to get a repeat of November 2018, and we're going to go down 50%, which meant 15K. And everybody's like, you're an idiot. That'll never happen. And 5 days later, we were at 17.5. So whether that's close enough to 15 doesn't really matter to me. It's time. So we hit the amount of time for winter. Spring sprung. What is spring? Spring is when, again, we're washed out. The rain is falling. Leverage is down. Three Arrows Capital was kind of the cathartic unwinding of the leverage. Mm-hmm. And now we went back into accumulation, and you see the accumulation pattern starting. Higher lows, higher highs, ascending triangle. The problem was that 24,000 level. And I said, the only weird thing this time is the distribution that's happening every time we hit 24. And that's a long, long answer to saying winter is an amount of time. Okay. Spring is an amount of time. Summer is an amount of time. And fall is an amount of time. And we will get through spring, and then we will have a summer, and that summer will have another cathartic up move or parabolic up move. And that's just the way it works.
Last question on this, because that was a great answer, Mark. I know a lot of our audience loved that one. What is the timeline for spring? So when do we enter back into summer?
Yeah. So if you break it, 4-year cycle, you could say, well, is that 12 months each? Yeah, it should be if it was like the seasons, right? 91 and a quarter days, but it's not exactly. And that has to do, I think, with humans being involved as opposed to planetary bodies. So my analysis, and again, I only have 3 cycles to look at, and the first one doesn't even count. 2009 to 13.
Yeah.
That was a science project.
Yeah.
There was no liquidity. It was all manipulation. It wasn't a market, right? Starting in 13, we had a real market. The last cycle, 17, 18, 19, real market, deep market, and this cycle. So we're not really looking at that many observations. But for me, it's kind of like 15 months, 9 months, 15 months, 9 months. And so I think, winter lasted about 15 months, 9 months of spring. So spring will last from kind of June through March, April of next year. Then we get the 15 months of summer leading to that cathartic, rocket ship right before right after the halving. And then we get another 9 months of fall before we hit winter again. So that's how I view the world. 15-9, 15-9. That's just my theory.
Very interesting. And I think, something that talking with you last time and even what you mentioned here, that volatility, we need to embrace the volatility. When we talk about volatility, if the winter bottom was, let's just call it somewhere around 20,000, yes, we dropped down to 75 and had some time around there 18, but let's just call it around 20,000. With the spring, you said the spring can be ugly. It can still rain. It can get muddy. What do you think the range would be? Do you think that range is going to probably a couple wicks that go below, maybe 20,000, 17,000, but all reality, we end up spending the next 9 months, or I guess we played out some of it, so the next, let's say 7 months, hovering between 30 and 20, 30 and 15, 30, or even we never get above 25. We 25 and 15. What is your thought about that range for that volatility of spring?
It's look, if I knew that, I'd probably be, famous like Paul Tudor Jones or one of the other great traders. I'm not really a very good trader. I'm really not very good at short-term stuff either. I'm actually decent at longer-term stuff. That's, most of my life I've focused on long-term macro stuff. And the thing I love about crypto, particularly Bitcoin, is it's maybe the biggest macro trade of all time, because it's just an evolution of technology that is going to do to financial services what the internet did to media and commerce. And I think it's interesting that we're having this conversation. Earlier this morning, somebody tweeted out Jeff Bezos's letter from 2001. And his first word was ouch, exclamation point. Clearly tough year for capital markets, really tough year for Amazon shareholders. The stock fell 94%. The stock fell 94% in 2001 and got down to $6. And people were basically like, it's over, right? It's done. And no, it wasn't over. And Jeff's like, on every measure of fundamentals for the company, for Amazon, we're better. Over the last 12 months, we're better. But the stock price is down because price, he didn't say this, but I say this, price is a liar. Price has nothing to do with value. Price is what two people agree to exchange a small amount of good or service. It has nothing to do with value. And the value of Amazon was clearly higher. And I use this example all the time, and you've heard me use it. I probably used it when last time we talked. Amazon and Bitcoin have the exact same volatility. Exact. 80%. 80. They both have 80 vol. Amazon, every single year in the 26 years it's been a public company, has had a double-digit drawdown, including this year. The average, this is great, the average is 31%. So every year, on average, you lose almost a third of your money. This year, the average, the drawdown on Amazon was 39%, worse than average. Okay, every single year. When was the right time to sell Amazon? That would be never. Who bought it 26 years ago and holds it today? Jeff, mom, dad, ex-wife, Bill Miller. That's it. No one else could handle the volatility. They couldn't embrace the volatility. All volatility is a disagreement about the future prospects of a business. That's all it is. Okay. And higher volatility is actually good because it means there's wide divergence. Now, a bad company will lead to ruin, but a good company, a good technology, a good business, a good network, high volatility is actually a godsend. It's a gift from the gods to allow you to accumulate at lower prices on a periodic basis. But you need conviction, courage, and cash, the 3 C's. And it's really important to have all three. Where do you get conviction? Do the work. Listen to shows like this. Talk about technology. Talk about businesses. Talk about ideas. Do the work. Okay? That's how you get conviction. Courage. Courage, it's harder to learn. You either have it or you don't. Most people like to talk. They're very hesitant to act. So many people talk a big game. but actions beat words. So you have to have the courage to hit the bid, to act. But then you have to have cash, right? I love people say, well, I was all in at 60K. And then at 30K, I'm all in again. Well, how'd you go all in again? If you were all in at 60, how'd you go all in again? I mean, if you borrowed money, maybe. But so to have cash when prices go down, that is an art. In fact, there's a famous investor, Seth Klarman at Baupost, and he always has 40% cash. Runs a hedge fund, 60% is invested on average. He has 40% in cash, charges 2 and 20. And a client came to me one day and said, I don't think I should pay you 2 and 20 for holding cash. So I should only have to pay on the 60%. He said, oh my God, you think you pay me 2 and 20 in spite of the cash? No. You pay me 2 and 20 because of the cash, because I always have cash to buy the cheap stuff when it goes on sale. Investing, only business. When things go on sale, people run out of the store. Every other business, put stuff on sale, people knock each other over. Put wedding dresses on sale, women are beating each other up to buy the dress. Black Friday, guys are beating each other to buy the toy for their kid.
Yeah.
Like the Arnold movie. And in investing, things go on sale, people run out of the store. And the cheaper the price, the further they run. So you got to have conviction, courage, and cash to buy the volatility and exploit that volatility, to capitalize on that volatility. And look, Bitcoin is the best performing asset 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 14 years. Over all of those periods, it's the best performing asset of all assets. But Mark, the last 6 months, it sucked. Yep, it did. And that's because we got too much leverage. We had stupid people doing stupid stuff, which happens at the top of every crazy period. And that had to unwind, and it did. And so is it possible there's still a few stupid people with too much leverage that need to get unwound? Possible. Could we wick down to 17? I don't know, maybe. But I feel pretty good. That's a long-winded way of saying, avoiding your question. What's the range? I have no freaking idea. I think it's answer. Probably 17.5 at the low to 28, 29 right under fair value until we get out of the spring season. Probably. I don't know.
That again, like you said, like you I loved what you started with. You're like, hey, I don't necessarily pay attention necessarily to the short stuff. I pay attention to the longer stuff. And then that explanation, even though I don't know if I got the answer I was originally looking for, I like the way you answered that better than what I even wanted in the first place. I don't know if you've ever been told this, but you should start a hedge fund and help manage people's money. Someday.
I appreciate that, and we might do something like that. We actually have a really unique. We do have a unique hedge fund. It's called Risk Managed Bitcoin. What it does is it is either in the market in Bitcoin, 100%, or it's out in cash. If it's, you can't time the market. It's about time in the market, not timing the market. Well, actually, particularly in Bitcoin, you can. And why is that? Well, it's because it's dominated by humans. So there's a process, an investment process called commodity trading advisors, CTAs, trend following. And for decades, they crushed everybody in the traditional markets. They used computer models and some technical analysis to determine when to go into the market or to be out of the market in cash. And it's a really simple idea, right? The mathematics of loss in investing is really profound, right? You're down 10%, you got to be up 11 to get even. You're down 20%, you got to be up 25. If you're down 50, you got to be up 100. God forbid you go down 95, like Peloton and Zoom and Shopify. You got to be up 20-fold to get even. So one of the things about investing is if you take care of the losses, the gains take care of themselves. So if you can mitigate some downside by just stepping to the sidelines, you say, but you can't time the market. Like, no, you can. In markets driven by humans, you can, because humans do things to excess. They push prices too high and they push prices too low. Now, the reason trend following doesn't work today in the traditional markets is because of high frequency trading, and there's too much chop, and you got people like Renaissance with his rocket scientist geniuses making 50% a year and taking all the alpha from the old CTAs. So yeah, it died in the traditional world because of quant and tech. Bitcoin today is still run primarily by human beings, and it's getting more quant, but it's still mostly human beings, and human beings are exploitable using trend following. So we actually do, surprisingly, or maybe unsurprisingly, have a hedge fund that does that. We actually have an ETF. You can buy the ETF version of our hedge fund at a fraction of the price, CRYP. Now we can't own spot Bitcoin there. So we own futures because the SEC won't let us own spot.
Right.
But we're either in futures or in cash. And in the bear market, the futures ETF went down 54% and we went down 34%. So a lot of alpha relative to markets.
Nice.
Well, we're gonna run long today because I have to ask you one more question and get an answer from you on it, because I want our audience to hear this. I got to ask you this last time I talked to you on Cointelegraph, and maybe if they've heard you before, they've heard this, but it's one of my favorite things. I talk about this all the time now after interviewing you. You just talked about maybe a 4-year cycle and the concept of the different seasons. Let's talk about a bigger time frame cycle that's playing out in the Bitcoin space, and that is, they started off ignoring Bitcoin, and then they were laughing at Bitcoin. And could you go on if you take 10 minutes, that's completely fine. But could you talk to our audience about that?
I'll try
cycle?
to do it short, but
yeah.
Look, the Gandhi quote, which Gandhi actually didn't say, but got attributed to him, and I wish I could remember the guy who actually said it, but I don't. I could Google it later. But the famous quote is, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. So I will argue, and I've made this case, that 2009 to 2015, that 6-year period, was the first they ignore you, right? Bitcoin, a bunch of nerds and geeks and whatever, just be gone. You're too small to care about it. 10,000 to buy 2 pizzas. Who gives a shit? I mean, it's just not important in my world. So nobody cared. So first they ignored you. Then by 2016, it's real money, right? We're up to a few $100 a coin. People are starting to talk about it more. Now we just laugh at you. So 16 to 21, bunch of nerds and geeks playing with their magic internet money. Geez, stupid, ridiculous. You guys are idiots. Okay, then they fight you. This year, 2022 to 2027, unfortunately, then they fight you. Why are they going to fight us? Well, because now it's real. Now billions, tens of billions of dollars have left fiat, converted to crypto, deposited into lenders, and make 6 to 8% interest instead of 0. Big banks don't like that. So what do big banks do? They call the local security regulators to crack down on the lenders. What then happens? The SEC jumps in. They fine people. Oh, then what happens? Oh, you make threats on regulation. Oh, then you have the whole freaking Luna debacle in Terra. I always think it's ironic that, Luna came to Terra, right? The moon came down to Earth. And I think that the challenge with all of this is financial services, biggest industry on the planet, right? Makes commerce look small, makes media look small. Financial services, monstrous. Equity market, large. Tiny compared to the bond market. Tiny, you were talking about Dixie, but compared to the currency market is orders of magnitude bigger. And then the derivatives market, orders of magnitude bigger than that. Every derivative in the world will eventually be on chain. Human beings shouldn't be involved in derivative contracts. You shouldn't be able to spoof the price of gold in the futures market, right? Which JP Morgan's been doing for years to keep price of gold low. That's bullshit. And they get fined every year and they're like, oh yeah, I pay $1 billion fine, but I made 20 billion. So it's cost of doing business. No big deal. So that needs to go away, and it will. And all of financial services, all of it, every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of real estate, every collectible car, every case of fine wine, every asset, every private business, everything will be digital, will be tokens. All a token is, it's not a gold coin. It's a little entry on a ledger. It's an entry on a ledger that allows you to understand the truth about title, the truth about ownership. And what the truth net, right, which is the blockchain era that starts in 2024, right? We haven't even started. This is the key. The reason I say it's not that we will win. We've already won. We've already won because this technology is inevitable. 54 mainframe, 68 microchip, 82 personal computer, 96 internet, 2010 mobile net, 2024 truth net. We are replacing trust with truth. We don't need financial services companies to be the trusted third party. We have truth. If I want to send you money, you don't have to have a bank account. I don't have to have a bank account. We don't have to pay the bank a fee to do that wire. We have truth. We have a ledger, and I can transfer my token, my ownership to you, and it then becomes permanent and immutable. That is inevitable for everything in the world that can be titleable. It will transact that way. And the internet of value, the truth net, will replace all of financial services. And they don't like that. So they're going to fight hard, like super hard. But the same way that the horse and buggy people fought the automobile, no one drives, well, not no one, the Amish and a few people in Central Park drive horse and buggies, but most people drive automobiles. The same way the phone companies fought against the internet, but you and I are using voice over IP right now. This is free, right? I mean, Zoom charges us, but I could talk to you on my, voice over internet protocol for free. I could use Skype free. Free pissed off the phone companies. Because in the old days, when I was growing up, I talked to my girlfriend in Texas and I'd be like, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. What are you going to do this weekend? Nothing. 2 hours later, my mom gets a $150 phone bill and she's pissed off. Phone company's really happy. Today, my kids could do that for free. So I think that all of this goes back. I said I was going to do a short answer, but I don't do short. So at the end of the day, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, but then you win. We win. Those who embrace the future, embrace this technological edge. I'm all about edge. What is the edge? The edge is we no longer need this 800-year-old cabal of the banking system, the Medicis and the Rothschilds and the Morgans. We don't need that. And this is better. And the world will be better. And we will migrate to better because we always do.
Wow. Mark, thank you so much for coming on here today. That was absolutely phenomenal. I told you I could probably have a conversation. I could sit down with you and just talk for years and ask questions and learn from you and your wisdom. But I'll have to get you on the show again real soon. I'll be in touch with you and your
Love
team.
it.
But thank you so much, Mark. We'll see you next time. Wow.
Cheers.
That was great. Again, he didn't even give me all the, I thought I was going to get different answers from him, and then it changed, and it was better than what I was hoping for. And I told you guys today was going to run a little long, but the last bit, the reason I wanted to throw that in there is because that is huge. Just watch what we are seeing, watch what is happening in the news right now when he talks about we used to get ignored, then they laughed at us, and that was very clear. You couldn't ignore Bitcoin in that phase, hence the reason why a lot of influencers and a lot of articles and a lot of companies that are big in the crypto space started right there around 2016, 2017. It was a real thing. Now, people laughed at it, thought it was a joke, but it was a real thing, and we have entered into, they are fighting it. They're going after the large voices in the space. They are trying to compete with this. There's news that the Federal Reserve is trying to compete with blockchain technology as a whole by changing up and using technology that would allow you to have instant transfers without having to wait for affirmations. And they're fighting it at every turn. But like Mark said, it's already won. The question is, when will everyone realize that it's already won? That is some great stuff. It is 11 o'clock. We're going long. We're going past. We got some super chats to read as we announced at the beginning of the stream. If you just joined us, welcome. Welcome. This is our charity stream, our ministry stream, where every single dollar in super chats goes to help Life for the Innocent, a ministry that works to save children in India from sex trafficking. If that is something that you want to support, leave us a super chat and every single dollar will go there. There's also a link in the description if you want to give just directly. Then you can go to that link and there's a page you can give. But Smay, I'm going to throw it to you. I know we read one of the super chats earlier, but let's read some of those other ones that I definitely saw in chat.
Yes, let's read these super chats. All right, so we have here from Freedom Advocate, he says, it's been a long road on our crypto journey. So many ups and downs.
It's true. That volatility.
Next, Mike Lowry re-upped his membership. So
Come on, Mike.
Awesome.
Yes, great.
Then we have from Brad Geidel. He just donated, and then he used his member super chat to say, thanks, CNC gang, for everything you do.
You're welcome.
Is that all of them?
Yeah, that was it. Well,
All
no,
right,
no,
so-
there's more. There's more.
There's more? Okay.
Well,
I just said, is that all of them? You said that's it.
Well, as in, like, I thought you were saying, is that it of the chat?
Oh.
Because you're supposed to respond to the chat.
Oh, gotcha.
That's why I threw
well,
it back to you.
I thank you so much.
All right.
Brad.
That's fine. You don't have to respond to him.
I didn't know there was.
you don't wanna
I didn't know there was a
engage.
question.
All right, so we have Jarrett just donated. He didn't say anything. And then Crypto Alchemist says, my mom told me there was a man that lived at the end of the sewer pipe that would check if we flushed veggies down the toilet and would call if I did.
Yeah. Very creative mother.
The calling thing is, I think,
That's
is good, because I did that to my little sister once. I said I was going to call the police if she didn't do something, so I called my friend, and he made him sound like the police, and she got really freaked out. It was great.
That's a nightmare one right there.
Got the super chats pouring in here.
Yep.
Smay, keep
All right,
them rolling,
let's keep 'em
baby.
rolling. We got Mitch Shaw. Mitch Shaw says, just wanted to give. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mitch.
And then Win People says, great guest today. Kudos.
Yes, yeah, no, I love having Mark. Again, this is the first time he's been on this channel, but I got to interview him a month and a half ago on Cointelegraph, and instantly was like, all right, I gotta talk with this guy more. I see Matt in chat. Matt told us last night he wasn't gonna be able to watch the stream, but he said this is the best driving music ever. Thank you, Matt. And you, I don't know if you heard earlier. Are you the reason why California is the most interested state in crypto? Like, that's the state that has the most interest in crypto. Is that solely you? And when you move here in a little bit, that you're gonna deprive California of crypto? Two more just came in. Let's read those, and we'll start wrapping this out.
All right, so two more. We have one voice says, how do you calculate your average price of your buys? I want to know when I've hit a certain point.
Well, the way you calculate, obviously, would
Use Robinhood.
I mean,
Oh.
just wherever you purchase, and then you just find the average. I mean, you purchase what's your total supply, and then you find the average. So that's the simplest way to do it. I'm sure there's tool. I don't use a tool to calculate it another way.
Robinhood does it
You wanna-
automatically.
Okay. T-Shroom's been all about that, Rob. We don't talk about that a lot.
Oh,
T-Shroom's
and we
all
got
about
there's
that
actually
Robinhood.
breaking news for Robinhood. They just added Cardano today.
Woo!
Ding, 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 ding. You can't send and receive it yet.
Okay.
I tweeted about this at TShroom. You can't send and receive it yet, but you can buy Cardano. You can get in there and get you some Cardano on Robinhood, and it's free.
Not your keys, not your coins.
There's no
goodness.
fees on Robinhood yet, but once you, so I'm not going to buy it yet but once you can send and receive it, then I'm going to send it to my cold wallet
Not your keys, not your
because
coins.
it's free. It's free, and you can see your average entry too.
Well,
So
the exchange is free.
the exchange.
The
is free.
exchange fees. There's no exchange
There's
fees.
Well,
no
it's
exchange
free.
fees on
You know why
Robinhood,
it's
yeah.
free, T-Shroom? Because it's not yours. Because not your keys, not your coins. All right, I have one more super chat here.
It's
So-
true though. It's true.
From,
when you buy on Robinhood, they have custom fees.
all right, so from the Coin Father says, punch emoji. To the one that got Mark Yusko on the show, I have been preaching the same things to my family, but it was nice to find someone that explains it perfectly where crypto is going in the future.
Amen. Amen.
Where is crypto going in the future?
It is going up and to the right
like to
in
hear
price, and then where it's going specifically into my wallet is
There
where
was
it's
a
going.
there was a quote that came to mind from Warren Buffett while Mark was talking, which is that the market in the short term is a casino, but the market in the long term is actually a scale. So it accurately weighs value, but in the short term, it's a casino. And so when he was talking about volatility in the short term, it's true. It's a casino because people are really just placing bets. Disney comes out with a new streaming service. Who knows if that's going to succeed? It has. Now they've eclipsed Netflix. So the scale, and now Disney, relative to is much more valuable than Netflix now. So it always has. It always was, but you see what I'm saying. So
All right, let's close it.
Well, that is all we have for you in today's show. We actually didn't run as long as I thought we would, but I want to make sure I leave you guys with all the announcements you need to know about what is coming up. First of all, this afternoon, two things are happening. One, I'll be going on Cointelegraph with another market talks. You don't want to miss that. That starts at 12 Eastern Standard Time here in just an hour, so I gotta go get ready for that. Also this afternoon, I'm gonna be doing a live interview with Dan from Crypto Capital Venture. And a lot of people are gonna assume that we're gonna be talking about Cardano, but guess what? We're not talking about Cardano. We're actually gonna talk about a bunch of other altcoins that are exciting for the future, as well as just looking at the sentiment of the crypto market as a whole from his perspective. Make sure if you love Dan and if you love crypto, you go watch that today at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. The other piece of news about tomorrow, the HODL Trophy winner will be announced, and I have a feeling it's going to be me, although if the Dixie keeps doing what it's doing, it could fall down to TShroom. We'll have to wait till tomorrow. We're sitting above my prediction. I'm at the highest spot, but we'll see. There's a lot that could happen there. The last news, though, as we wrap up today, again, I believe this is the best, the greatest community in all of crypto anywhere. And I got to give a shout out once again to my man, Mike Markle, who is riding his bike. Again, so the goal right here, go to my screen. You're on my screen. There we go. 1,250 miles. That is his goal. He's already done about 900, and he's doing this to raise funds for cystic fibrosis, a disease that still has no known cure, but he's trying to do his best to raise money so that people can have A, sovereignty over their body, just like what we talked about in the purpose of what our community wants to accomplish with crypto, but then B, be able to then maybe go after that financial sovereignty. Currently, he has raised $680. His goal is $1,000. Once again, I want us to destroy and beat that goal well over $1,000. So all of our coffee and crypto community, go to this page now. There's a link in the description. Support Mike and his quest to help solve cystic fibrosis. That is all we have for you in today's show, but I love each and every single last one of you. If you joined us late, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and maybe go back and watch the beginning. It was a great show today. With that being said, though, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.